Child, listen close now, because the voice you're hearing ain't no accident. The moment you stumbled upon these words was written long before you even took your first breath. I'm speaking to you from a place beyond all the noise and clatter of this world, from that quiet where the Eternal watches over every single soul, even those forgotten by folks, but never, not for a heartbeat, forgotten by heaven. So set down whatever you're holding. Ease those weary shoulders, because today's the day the unseen turns its face right toward you. Somebody's already on their way to change your life forever. Don't look away now. Don't let that doubt sitting heavy in your chest fool you into thinking this message was meant for someone else. It wasn't. It's meant for you. Always was meant for you. That trembling deep down in your soul ain't fear. It's recognition. It's your spirit remembering a promise it made long before it ever came to call this body home. I know your name. I know the shape of that ache behind your smile, the one folks don't see. I've counted every hour you stayed wide awake while the house lay quiet, staring into the dark, wondering why the heavens seemed so still when your heart was hollering loud as could be. You thought nobody was listening. You thought your prayers just rose up into empty sky and vanished like smoke. But I'm here to tell you the truth the world's tried to hide. Not one word of yours was lost. Every whisper, every tear, every heavy sigh that couldn't find words was gathered up and kept safe, sealed and recorded, brought right before the throne where nothing pure ever gets thrown away. That silence you felt, it weren't absence, it was preparation, and today that preparing ends and the answer is walking your way. Someone's coming. I want you to hear that deep in your soul, because it ain't no metaphor or sweet comfort to soften your pain. It's a fact moving from the unseen to the seen, a presence already set in motion just for you, a turn-in of events so precise no human mind could have planned it. This arrival won't come with thunder to scare you. It'll come like the dawn to one waiting through the whole night. Slow at first, a thin line of light on the edge of everything. Then suddenly, the whole sky's burning bright and you can't deny it. Someone's chosen to cross your path, to say the word you've needed to hear to open the door that's been locked shut on you far too long. And it's happening today, right now, as you breathe and listen. You've been through so much disappointment that even hope feels like hurt. I know, I've seen how many times you let yourself believe, how many times you opened your hands expecting to receive, only to feel them close on empty air. You learned to protect yourself by expecting nothing. You taught your own heart to stop reaching, because every time it reached, it got hurt. But I'm here to undo that lesson. The season of getting hurt for reaching is over, and the season of receiving what you reach for has begun. Don't be afraid to want again. Don't be ashamed to hope again. The very fact this message found you right now is the first stone in the bridge between the life you endured and the life you were made to live. I see you, and I always have. I see that tiredness no amount of sleep can fix, the kind that lives deep in your spirit's marrow. I see how you wake before the day calls, not 'cause you're rested, but 'cause worry won't let you rest. I see how you carry others' burdens so faithful-like, you forgot you're allowed to set down your own. I see how you've become invisible in rooms full of people, how your voice goes unheard even when you speak, how your needs come last, even on the lists you write for yourself. You've given and given until there's a hollow place where your own joy used to live, and nobody noticed. Nobody asked if you were all right. Nobody saw the cost. But I saw. I saw every quiet act of kindness you done when nobody thanked you. I saw you choose patience when you felt like breaking. I saw you hold your tongue to keep peace in a house that gave you none. I saw you pour your last bit of strength into someone who wouldn't do the same for you. And I want you to know nothing you done in secret's been missed. The world don't keep count of the gentle faithfulness, but heaven keeps every page. There's a book with your name written in it, right beside all the things you thought no one would ever know. They're known, they're honored, and they're about to be repaid. I've watched you cry where you thought no one would see. In that little room behind a closed door, water running so nobody'd hear you break. In a parked car where no one passes. Grip on the wheel, letting the sobs come 'cause there was nowhere else to let 'em go. In the dead of night, face pressed into cloth so even your own breath couldn't give away how deep your pain ran. You hid those tears so well, even the closest folks thought you strong, thought you needed nothing, thought you were fine. So they leaned on you heavier, and you let 'em, and the weight grew, and still you didn't complain. But I heard every cry you stifled. I caught every tear before it hit the ground, and not one fell unseen. There's a kind of loneliness that ain't from being alone, but from being surrounded and still unseen. That's the loneliness, you know. To be in the middle of folks who depend on you, yet feel like not one of them truly knows you. To be the strong one, always, until that strength turns into a prison with no door. You've wondered if anyone had noticed if you just stopped, if you let go, if you just fell. You've wondered if your absence would be felt or just an inconvenience. Those are heavy thoughts, and you carried them alone. But I'm telling you now, you ain't alone no more. I'm here. I always have been, and the one who sent me never once took his eyes off you. Now listen close, because what I'm about to say carries a weight you can't just set down easy. There's a reason this message found you today and not some other day, and there's a reason it comes with urgency, not ease. A door's opening in the unseen, and doors that open, they close too. This moment of visitation is precious because it's a moment, not forever. When heaven moves toward a soul, it asks something in return, not a price, not a payment, but an answer. It asks you to be awake. It asks you not to turn away. It asks you to recognize this hour when it comes, and not to sleep through your own deliverance. Now many folks have stood right there, on the edge of the very thing they prayed and prayed for, only to walk away because they didn't recognize it when it showed up. They asked and asked for years, and then when the answer came looking all different than they expected, they called it just a coincidence and let it slip on by. See, they got so used to nothing that when abundance came knocking, it scared them half to death. So they turned tail and ran back into the shadows they knew, rather than stepping out into that new light. But I don't want that to be your story. No, sir, I came here to make sure it ain't. So listen close while you still can, because this here visitation is as real as a southern sunrise, and it's coming soon. Your part, just stay awake, stay willing, and keep your heart open. Ignoring a call from heaven ain't no small thing, not because heaven's cruel, but because that call is pure mercy. And to turn down mercy is to stay stuck in the suffering you were meant to leave behind. Just think for a moment how long you've waited. How many nights you cried out for this very moment. Would you let it slip away now when it's finally here, just 'cause old fears whispering it ain't real? No way. I won't let the enemy of your soul steal from you at the last minute. I'm here standing between you and that thieving, to lift the veil off your eyes so when the one who's coming walks through that door, you'll know him, and you won't turn your back. Now here's something the world's tried mighty hard to hide from good folks like you. The struggles you've been through, they ain't just what they seemed. All those obstacles, slammed doors, sour relationships, and the way good things slipped right through your fingers, that wasn't just bad luck. No, sir, there's a deeper layer to your life, a hidden design of forces your eyes can't see, but your spirit surely can feel. You felt it, didn't you? That something beyond what you see was working against you. A pattern to your hardships too exact to be chance. You weren't just imagining it. You were sensing a truth most folks go their whole lives never knowing. You're a key player on a board way bigger than what this world shows you. And 'cause you're a key player, the fight against you's been fierce. Nobody wastes their breath on forgettable souls. The enemy don't bother with those who ain't carrying light. It's those chosen, those called, marked for a purpose bigger than the ordinary, who feel that pressure from the unseen. The very weight of your suffering is proof of the greatness of your calling. You were attacked 'cause you mattered. You were blocked 'cause you were dangerous to the darkness. And that's why I, Michael, captain of heaven's armies, am speaking to you now. Your battle's never been too small for the highest ranks. It's caught the eye of the commander himself. This here knowledge changes everything. It's been kept hidden from the weary and wounded for generations. There's laws in that unseen realm as sure as the stars in the sky, rules governing how curses bind, blessings get sealed, how the chosen get activated, and how attacks against them get broken. Most folks never learn these laws, so they carry burdens that could have been lifted, stay chained to troubles that could have been cut loose, because no one ever taught them how the spiritual world really works. That's why I've helped prepare something special for souls just like yours, a sacred guide, a digital book called The 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, the sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and activate the calling of the chosen. Inside those pages are the very truths I'm speaking of now, laid out clear so you can understand and put them to work in your life, not just for feel-good comfort, but real, solid, spiritual know-how. It shows how the first sword cuts every curse spoken against you, how the swords seal blessings, so what's meant for you can't be stolen no more, and how that calling inside you wakes up and burns bright. If you ever felt like there's knowledge just out of reach, a key you couldn't find, this here's that key finally laid right in your open hand. The link to get this sacred guide is pinned at the very top of the comments on this channel, so nobody meant to find it has to go looking. I tell you true, this knowledge has ruffled feathers of folks making money, keeping the chosen in the dark, and some have tried to hush it up, 'cause what sets a soul free threatens every power that fed on that soul's chains. So I ask you now to take a small step of faith, small to do but mighty in meaning. Head on up to the top of the comments, grab that sacred guide, and as you do, leave these words for all to see, saying out loud to the unseen, I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. When you write that, you ain't just tapping keys, you're making a declaration, announcing to the heavens that you accept your calling and refuse to stay in the dark no longer. Every declaration like that opens a door no enemy can shut again. Do it now before reading another word, 'cause claiming it is the very first cut of the sword slicing through the chains holding you back. Now that you've made that claim, come back with me to the revelation, 'cause what I've told you about the one who's coming is about to get even deeper. The strength of your declaration is the fuel for what I'm fixing to show you. See, the arrival headed your way ain't separate from those spiritual laws I just named. It's the fruit of those laws starting to work for you. The one who's coming, the turn you're about to take, the change that'll reshape your tomorrow. They all flow through the channels that open when a soul breaks free from chains. You've just begun to break the pattern that held you, and as that breaks, the floodgates holding back your blessings start to swing wide open. Now let me speak to the question that's troubled you more than any other, the one you've asked in the dark 1,000 times, but never got an answer to. Why did it take so long? Why, if you were chosen, loved, watched over, did help not come sooner? Why did you have to wait year after year while others who seemed to deserve less got what they needed quick? That question's been a hurt in your heart, and the enemies used it to convince you the wait was rejection. The silence was abandonment, and the waiting meant you were forgotten. But I'm here to tell you that delay, it was the deepest proof of love you've ever been given, and once you understand that, all that bitterness from those years will melt away like frost under the morning sun. And now listen here. You weren't made to wait because you were being punished. No, sir, you were waiting because you were getting ready. And let me tell you, you can't rush the making of a vessel meant to carry some mighty heavy load. Think about the most precious things you know. A stone that turns into a jewel so bright it takes your breath away. It don't happen overnight. That stone's been pressed under weight you can't imagine, hidden in darkness, crushed by forces that'd shatter anything weaker, for ages and ages. What was once just a plain old rock becomes something that holds and scatters the light like no other thing on this earth. You've been in that press. You've been in that darkness, and maybe you thought that pressure was breaking you down, but truth be told, it was the making of your glory. If the blessing meant for you had come before you were ready to hold it, it would have destroyed you or slipped right through your fingers. There were parts of your soul that hadn't been carved out yet, depths of kindness and strength that hadn't been forged. Only the long waiting could build them up. Every hard knock you took was like a chisel, shaping a place inside you for something greater to be poured in one day. The patience you had to learn, well, that patience became your vessel. The losses you suffered hollowed out a space that abundance will now fill. Even the wounds you cursed were carving the cup meant to hold your joy, and a shallow cup just couldn't hold what's on its way to you now. But there's more to it, and this is what folks who've been hurt don't often see. The wait wasn't just for prep, it was protection too. There were roads you wanted to walk that I wouldn't let you take, doors you knocked on that I held shut with my own hand. 'Cause behind them was destruction you couldn't see. You cried because that door wouldn't open, never knowing those tears were saving your life. You mourned the things you didn't get, not realizing that receiving them would have trapped you in a snare you might never have gotten free from. How many times did you beg for something that, if given, would have broken you? And how many times did that unanswered prayer turn out to be the greatest mercy, even if you couldn't see it then? Maybe not even now. I held you back from the smaller things, so you'd be free for the bigger ones. Let the lesser loves go so the true love could find a place in your heart. Let the smaller chances fall away so your hands would be empty when the real opportunity showed up. Every closed door was a wall built to keep you safe until the right time, and that time is coming now. You ain't behind. You never was behind. You were kept safe, hidden like a treasure buried deep till the day it's meant to be found. And that day, your day of revealing, ain't far off no more, it's here. It's the day you're living right now. So let go of all that bitterness from those long years, child. Lay it down. It ain't got no more work to do in you. The story you told yourself about being forgotten, that ain't the true story. The truth is, you were loved so deep, no shortcut was allowed to cheat you out of your full inheritance. No early gift was given to rob you of the greater one. No easy road opened that'd lead you away from the destiny written deep in who you are. You were shaped like the rarest of stones, in darkness, under pressure, over time. And now that cutting is done and the light's about to hit your facets and show the world what you've always been. Now let me show you what's been going on behind the scenes while you thought nothing was happening at all. There's a realm right over this one, more real than the walls around you, and in that place there's been movement on your behalf bigger than you can imagine. I want you to see it clear as day, because what the Spirit can picture, the Spirit can receive. Close your eyes if you can, and open those eyes that see in the dark. Let me take you where the real work's been done. There's a place where the names of the chosen are spoken before the throne, and your name's been spoken there. I've heard it called out in that great hall where the light ain't got no source 'cause it's everywhere, where the floor's like a sea of fire that don't burn but blazes, and voices rise and fall like the breathing of the ocean. In that place, a decree was made for you, sealed with a power that nothing here or beyond can undo. The decree said, your season of suffering is over, and your season of restoration has begun. And when that decree's sealed, all of heaven moves to make it happen. I stood at the front of the armies of light and gave the word to break every attack against you. Imagine it if you can. Ranks and ranks of warriors clothed in light, faces flashing like lightning, taller than any tower built by man, waiting still as a summer's night for the command. When I gave the word, they moved like a strong wind blowing through a field of grain, going to where those cords were tied around you, where curses were spoken against your life, where darkness gripped what was yours, and they cut, they tore, they cast down. The swords of heaven flashed, and every binding your enemy put on your path was cut right where it stood. I drew the blade that's been cutting through the works of that old adversary for ages, and I set it against the chain, wrapped around the very center of your life, the one you felt but never saw, the one that made every step heavier than it ought to be, that turned your winds to dust just as you got 'em, that whispered lies to turn folks against you for no reason they could name. I set my blade to that chain, and I tell you, it's cut. Not just weakened or loosened, it's cut clean through, and now the place where it bound you is open. And through that opening, your deliverance is pouring in right now, even as you hear this. And yes, there was a fight. The darkness don't give up what it's held without a fierce battle. I won't hide from you how hard you were fought for. You deserve to know. When those armies of light moved against your oppressors, those dark powers rose up to defend their hold, and there was a fight in the unseen that shook the heavens below the highest. Shadows fed fat on your suffering, tried to hold tight to their prize, but they were met and overcome. Do you remember that night, not long back, when you felt a sudden lightness, a moment when the weight you'd carried so long seemed to lift? That wasn't your imagination, no ma'am. That was the moment the battle turned. That was when your enemies broke and ran. The one who's come to change your life is walking now through the opening that battle made. Do you see? The arrival I promised you ain't some chance breeze floating your way. It's the result of a war already fought and won up above. A path was cut for that person to come to you, clearing obstacles that had stood between you longer than you know. And as that path opened, their steps were set upon it. They're coming, and nothing stands in their way now. Nothing that wasn't already cut down by heaven's swords. That's why I can say with such surety it's happening today, 'cause what's promised you on earth has already been done in heaven. And now this world is just catching up with that decree. Now listen here, child. I gotta take you back to a story written way back yonder, laid down in them sacred pages so souls like yours, right this very minute, can see their own freedom reflected plain as day. There was a young man, his daddy's favorite, who carried a dream deep in his heart from the moment he could remember, a dream the heavens themselves planted in his sleep. He saw himself lifted high, even those bigger and stronger, bowing down to the purpose laid on his life. But 'cause he carried that dream, 'cause a calling shone bright on him, The very folks who should have loved him most turned their backs. His own brothers, kin by blood, looked at the favor he wore and were eaten up with jealousy so fierce they couldn't stand to see his face. They tore off his robe of honor, threw him down in a pit out in the wild, and sold him off to strangers like he was nothing but some old piece of trade, a life worth just a few coins. Now think about what that soul went through. Ripped away from all he knew, hauled to a strange land where no one said his name with love, made a servant in a house that wasn't his own. And when he chose to stand tall for what was right, refusing to sell out his own integrity, he was lied about by those he served and thrown in a jail for a crime he didn't do, year after year in that dark hole. He had a dream of greatness, but every step just chained him tighter. Don't you feel the weight of his question in that dark cell? The same question that's been heavy on your heart. Where's that dream now? Where's that promise? Why does this calling only seem to bring more hurt? By all reckoning, he had every right to believe both earth and heaven had forgotten him. But listen close to what no one saw while that young man sat forgotten. That very suffering that looked like ruin was shaping him into the only vessel fit to carry the weight of what was coming. In the pit, he learned to let go of what he couldn't control. In that house of servitude, he learned faithfulness in the little things. In that prison, he learned to read the hidden meanings others missed, and he learned to serve even those who forgot him the minute they were free. Every part of his character was built by the very hardships trying to tear him down. And then, in the turn of just one day, after all those quiet years, he was lifted from that dungeon to sit beside the throne, set over the whole land, made the deliverer of the very brothers who betrayed him, the savior of the nation that had locked him up. In one day, the forgotten became exalted. In 1 hour, the prisoner became a prince. I'm telling you this story because you're living it right now in that chapter just before the turn. You're in the cell you reckon heaven's forgotten. You're in the season where the dream seems to laugh in your face, where every promise feels like a sharp wound, where the years have piled up and you wonder if that favor that once rested on you was ever real. But I, Michael, who stood watch over that young man every night he was locked away, I tell you this, his deliverance didn't come slow when it finally came. It came sudden once the long preparing was done, and yours will come just the same. The years seem slow, the turning comes quick, and that turning is upon you now. Look close at what was done to that beloved son, because there's a truth wrapped in it that strikes right at the heart of your own pain. When his brothers stood before him at the end, shaking and expecting revenge, he spoke words that unlocked the whole mystery of suffering. He told them that what they meant for evil, heaven meant for good, to save many lives. The same act, the very same betrayal, was at once human cruelty and divine purpose. The wound meant to destroy him became the door his destiny walked through. And that's how it's been with you. Them who hurt you, who left you, who took what was yours without shame, they meant harm. But the hand that rules all took their harm and wove it into the very fabric of your rise. Nothing done against you was wasted. Every betrayal bent toward your becoming. Feel how that changes the meaning of all you've suffered. The pain was real. I ain't gonna lie to you, it was real. The tears, the loneliness, the nights staring at the ceiling, begging for an answer, all real. But the meaning you gave them, that was the lie. You believed suffering meant you were rejected. Truth is, suffering meant you were being prepared for a rise so great no untested soul could bear it. The depth of the pit always matches the height of the calling. They threw that young man in a pit because they couldn't see it was just the first step of a stairway climbing to a throne. And the things meant to bury you, child, were only the first steps of that staircase rising to the life you were born to live. Now let me press deeper still, because there's a part of your pain even you have been too scared to name. It ain't just that you suffered, it's that you started to believe the suffering was your fault. Somewhere along the long road, you began to wonder if there was something wrong with you, something broken deep down in your core, some flaw that made you unworthy of love and all the good things others seem to get so easy. You looked at folks around you who had it easy and turned that comparison into a sentence against your own soul. You decided, in the quiet places no one else could hear, that maybe you just weren't meant for good things, that maybe life was made to overlook folks like you. And that belief became the heaviest chain of all, heavier than any curse from an enemy, because it was a curse you put on yourself. I'm here to break that chain above all the rest. Hear me now and let these words sink past your mind into that deep place where you hide your secret shame. There ain't nothing wrong with you. There never was. The hard road you walked was never a judgment on your worth. It was the mark of your calling. Folks who walk easy roads ain't the ones given heaven's heavy work. You got the harder path because you were given a greater purpose, and greater purpose means a deeper forging. Stop the judgment you've been laying on yourself. Take back that sentence. You ain't the overlooked one, you're the chosen one, hidden away till the hour of revealing, and that hour is now. Well now, since that moment's come, I gotta turn your eyes back once again, to the truth laid out just for you. 'Cause breaking these chains ain't meant to be some quick feeling that fades with the morning light. No, sir. It's meant to settle deep in your heart, a steady knowing you carry and hold on to all your days. That young man in the prison, he stood up, 'cause he saw what others couldn't. He read the writing in the unseen. And that same understanding, the knowing of how the spirit world really works, how them chains are bound and cut loose, how curses are whispered and silenced, how blessings are sealed tight so they ain't ever took again, that's all gathered, laid out clear for you in a sacred guide. The digital book called The 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, the sacred guide to break curses, seal blessings, and wake up the calling of the chosen. Inside those pages, you'll find what the beloved Son had to learn through long, hard years, condensed right there so you can hold it now. You'll see how the second sword cuts loose the chain of self-condemnation you done put on yourself, how the third one seals favor around you so no jealous hand, no envious eye, no backstabbing from close kin can ever strip that robe off your shoulders again. You'll learn the laws that turn suffering into rising, the same laws that lifted a prisoner to a throne in just one day. The link to get this sacred guide is pinned right at the top of the comments, the very first one on this channel. Put there so no soul meant to find it gets lost searching. And I tell you plain and simple, there's powers out there that don't want this knowledge reaching you, powers that have fed on the bondage of the chosen for generations, and now shake when even one of them breaks free. They tried to bury this truth, but they ain't succeeded, 'cause here you are reading these words even now. So do it again, friend. Take that leap of faith. Don't let that old hesitation talk you out of it. Head to the top of the comments, grab that sacred guide in your hands, and speak out loud into the unseen worlds, right in where all can see. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. When you write those words, you ain't just leaving a comment. You're doing what the beloved Son did when he refused to let the pit define him. You're siding with heaven, not with your hurt. You're putting your name on the side of your freedom. And every soul that makes that claim sets something in motion in the unseen that no force can undo. Do it now, before that old fear can whisper in your ear, 'cause claiming it is like turning the key in the lock that's held you all this time. Now that you've claimed it, let the power of that promise carry you back into the truth, 'cause I got more to show you. What I'm about to declare must be received by a soul that's already chosen to stand with heaven. Stand up, if only in your spirit, and take in these words as I speak 'em. These ain't wishes or hopes, they're decrees sealed up yonder and now spoken right here where you live. I declare today that the long prison of your spirit has ended, and the doors that held you are swinging wide open as you hear these words. I declare that the verdict you gave against your own worth is wiped clean, struck off the record, thrown deep where it can't rise no more. I declare that the favor ripped from your shoulders is being returned, woven fresh and brighter than ever, a cloak no betrayal can take away again. I declare that what was meant to harm you is now turned fully for your good, and every weapon made in the unseen to stop your destiny is broken at the hilt, falling useless to the ground. I declare that the one coming to change your life finds their path clear. Every obstacle between you cast down, every delay lifted, their steps quickened toward the meeting that no power can stop. I declare your years of being unseen are done, and you will be seen, named, sought after, and honored right where once you were overlooked. I declare that the abundance held back is now unleashed, pouring into the hollow places carved by your suffering, filling every empty chamber till what was drained is overflowing, and what was barren bears fruit beyond what you ever dreamed. I declare restoration over the years the locusts ate up, not just equal to what was lost, but multiplied, pressed down and spilling over, so the riches of your later days make the poverty of before look like a quick shadow gone and forgotten. I declare healing deep down to the marrow of your tiredness, that heaviness no sleep could touch is lifted from your spirit, and you rise with a strength you ain't known since before the burdens came. I declare peace into the corners of your mind, where worry kept watch. Joy back in the place where gladness once lived before it was hollowed out, and the return of every good thing you stopped letting yourself hope for. And I declare with the full power of the one who commands the armies of light that you won't sleep through the hour of your visitation. Your eyes are open now, your spirit's awake. You'll recognize the one who comes. You'll know the turn-in when it comes. You won't call your deliverance a coincidence and just let it go by, 'cause the veil's lifted from your sight. You see now what you couldn't see before. The arrival's near, my child, closer than your next sunrise. And there's still more I gotta show you about what waits on the other side of this open door. 'Cause this change comin' is bigger than one person, deeper than one day, and you need to understand the full measure of what's being restored before the dawn breaks all the way. See, the dawn comin' ain't just the dawn of a single morning. It's the dawn of a whole new age of your life. And before that light breaks full, I gotta press my hand once more on the deepest bruise inside you, the one you've hidden even from yourself. It's the ache of crying out and hearing nothing back. You've called into the silence so many times, you started to fear your own voice, wondered if crying out just proved how powerless you were, if asking was just marking you as a beggar at a door that had never opened. You learned to lower your voice, made your request small, almost sorry-like you had no right to ask heaven for anything at all. And in lowering your voice, you began to disappear, even from yourself, till you couldn't remember the sound of your own true longing. Now let me tell you all about another soul, a man whose story was meant for this very moment. There was a blind fella sitting right at the edge of the road, eyes closed tight against the light he never saw since the day he was born. He'd been reduced to begging for scraps folks dropped along the way. Every single day, the whole world just walked on by him. Crowds bustled round like he was nothing but a stone, a piece of dust nobody cared to know. He was the most invisible man of all, seen by all but known by none, standing right there in the middle of multitudes, yet utterly alone. One day he hears tell that a mighty presence is passing down his road, a power that heals and restores, moving right where he's sitting in his darkness. And in that moment, something stirs deep inside, something the years of being overlooked couldn't kill. He starts to cry out, shouting the name of the one who's passing by, refusing to hold his peace. Now listen close to what happened, 'cause it's the very same thing that's happening to you. The crowd round him turned and told him to hush up, said he was making a fuss, that a man so lowly had no business raising his voice, that he ought to accept his place at the edge and stay put. Those folks tried to silence the very prayer that was about to save his life. Don't that sound a lot like the voices that have surrounded you? The ones telling you to lower your sights, be realistic, stop hoping so big, accept that this is just how your life's meant to be? They were that crowd telling the blind man to be quiet. But hear what that blind man did. He didn't lower his voice. No, sir, he raised it higher. He cried out louder than ever with every ounce left in his soul, and that cry cut through the noise and reached the ears of the one who could heal him. And y'all better believe it. The one who was passing stopped right